guys, it's Brittany. So, today will be a back in time watches video, and today I'll be talking about the first time that I've watched Signs. Now, Signs came out in 2002, I believe. Did it? I think it was, yeah, possibly I think around 2002, and I was, how old was I? What, 10? Wait, let me calculate this real quick. Oh gosh. But yes, it is scary. It's, whew. Yeah, it is scary. Just, yeah, I just really want to make sure, wait. But yes, I remember the first time I watched it, I was scared. And it is one of those movies that's eerie and uneasy to watch because it's like when you watch it alone, you do not want to be alone. Just like how when I was mentioning Beyond Belief, that is one of those things too. You do not want to be watching it alone. You want to have your family watching. No, you want to have your family around watching it with you, or at least a friend. So yeah, so it came out 2002, and I was, how old? So because it did came out before my birthday, which is in November, then that means, because I would have turned 11, but I wasn't. I was 10 when it came out. Yeah, so I was 10 when it came out, and oh boy. Now, I don't think I've actually saw it at that time when I was 10. So, thank goodness for that. Only because if I had seen Signs at that age, at 10, I would have been scared. I think I would have been really scared, and I would probably feel like, okay, I do not want to watch that again. And I think I probably would have, but maybe much older. Hang on, I'm just looking at the release date. So, came out August 2nd, 2002. So, it was before my birthday, and I was 10 at the time. And like I said, I did not watch it at that time, but I remember the first time I did watch it, I was actually a bit older. I would say maybe, oh man, I'm trying to think. I think it was probably 13, so I was like, what, 3 years older. So I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's good though. 'Cause yeah, 10, I think, yeah, it's not the to me, I think 10 to watch Science, like, no, that's not a good time to watch it that young. But since I was 3 years older, and since I was 13 when I saw it, then I think that's actually a good time, because you're a teen, and there's some things you feel like you want to watch, of things you haven't seen before, and even if it is a bit scary, you just want to experience something new, like something new to watch, whether it's a TV show or a movie, and that is very understandable. So I remember when I was 13, I was watching things that I have never seen before, and watching shows and movies that I probably have heard of but never seen it, or even shows or movies that I haven't heard of, and I'm like, I want check this out. And because I remember watching Scream for the first time at 13, and then Signs. Now Scream I actually love, and then of course the rest of the movies and the rest of the franchise. But watching Signs for the first time at 13, I think to me, I think that's a okay age to watch Signs, like from 13, 14, 15 and up. So that's just me in my opinion. Now, no one really recommended the movie. It's just that I think my mom had the movie at the time on DVD, um, which now I have. And yeah, now that I have it on DVD, and now seeing it the first time at 13, I was scared. I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a really scary alien movie. And now the cast is great. You know, they really are. They did such a good job, and the director himself did such a great job with the movie too, because I remember when I first watched it, I did not expect how scary it was going to be. Now, of course, when I say scary, I don't mean like it's exactly anything like graphic or gory, like any kind of a horror movie like that. But it's still, it's uneasy. Like it's still this scary. You get some parts where you feel scared, but it's mostly like this movie, like I said, there's nothing too graphic or gory, nothing like a horror movie, but to me it still feels like there's some horror elements in this movie, because the it's just one of those things where you feel unnerved and you feel uneasy by it, and you feel like, okay, this isn't right, you know. And then yeah, I can't really explain it, but you really start to feel like you get this very eerie, unsettling feeling, especially with that, and that's how I feel towards it. And believe me, it's not a movie I watch often. It's not. But if I were to, I would only watch it during the day, because there's times I've watched it at night before, and that is not a good idea, because then you feel even more uneasy and more unsettled. And I think with me personally, I do get scared in a way where I feel kind of paranoid, only because I feel like, okay, I don't want to be alone, and I feel like I'm always looking over my shoulder, you know. So ugh. But yeah, so I remember when I saw this when I was 13, and this was at home, you know, on DVD, and of course, you know, there are some things, you know, while watching, I'm like, okay, this is weird. But I think the part that scared me the first time was actually when Mel Gibson is, you know, when he's talking to his daughter. Well, his character is talking to his daughter, and how she said that she she says she saw a monster, and that she wanted to have a glass of water. So when they're talking and he's in her room, at some point he you know, he looks up, but when he looks up outside her bedroom window, he sees something on the roof. You know, you see it. I think that's like the alien's first appearance, is when you see it standing on the roof, and the way it stands, like it has its legs apart and its arms are like that, which you can't really see it, you know, from here. But now, of course, you see it from far, but you don't really see it up close, like what it really looks like. And so that I think, yeah, that really made me jump. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is that? And yeah, I just remember I was like, just feeling like, oh my gosh, like, uh, this movie is going somewhere. Like, it's just like somehow it's not going too fast. You know, it's not going too fast where it just shows the creature within the room, or because yeah, then it'll be like, okay, let's take our time here to slowly really see it, but not too fast. So I think that's what they did. Like, you see it from far, but you don't really see it up close. But that's still scary enough, especially it's night, it's dark outside, and you see it standing on the roof. I mean, oh, even that, it just makes me feel uneasy just by thinking about that. Like, oh, and then of course, so with Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix, they start running outside, start cursing. Well, I think Mel Gibson's character is trying to curse, although he's not so much good at it, because I think he just doesn't have that in him to really, to swear. But then at some point when they're outside and when they come running back, I think they couldn't find it, they couldn't see it. But at some point they hear it on the roof, because you hear like footsteps. And at some point it was on the roof, and it jumps. It makes like a big jump into the cornfield. And then, now of course I'm just mentioning certain parts of the movie, but I'm just saying how certain parts just really made me feel like, ugh. Now of course there are some parts where you feel uneasy, and there's parts where I felt like, okay, everything's fine, but then there are some parts where it's like, okay, this is not fine, and it's like, I remember those parts that I felt scared, my heart was pounding fast, and I'm like, oh my gosh, So now with the story itself, I actually find it, quite sad, because of the fact that he was a pastor, and then hearing about his wife, how she died and how he was there in her final moments. It's just so sad, and because of his wife said that he had lost his faith, and I think things were completely turned upside down for him, and I think, yeah, he got really depressed. So it didn't seem like he was never happy. So yeah, and of course, you feel bad for his character of what he's going through. And so yeah, so that itself is sad, and seeing how his family is, struggling. Well, struggling, I would say emotionally, because of the fact that no one seems to be, happy. They're not really, of course, they're not having a great time, and things are hard for them, I would say. Yeah, emotionally, not only probably for themselves, but also around each other. So, and but of course they're still trying, they still try to do things, of daily things, and that, it just shows that no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're feeling, that you gotta do what you need to do, and still do the things you gotta do to move forward, even though it doesn't seem like, it, but you are. Like, no matter what, you are moving forward, no matter what you're feeling. But yeah, so like I said, that part of the story itself is sad. And of course, I would say, of course, there's not a lot going on, but I just remember. Oh, Anon. Anon, one sec. Huh. Sorry about that. What happened was when I was like moving my arm, uh, the bracelet I have on is actually a little big. So what happened was it just came right off. So, yeah. So that's what happened. So yeah. Anyway, um, yeah. This is just like I said. So that part itself of the story, it is sad, but um and because with this thing going on with the aliens and everything, then of course I think then he starts to take action. And I think um I think he's I think he's still struggling emotionally within himself. And but I would say one part that really scared me, which it still does, like, oh, I feel so uneasy. But I remember the first time watching it, I remember, how Walking Phoenix is in a closet and the TV's in there, but just when because he was sleeping, but then he woke up, and then he woke up to, the TV on, and it was the news that was on TV, and then, oh yeah, then the news anchor, she said how that she was like warning to those who are watching. She said like what you're about to see may disturb you, and so he brings the chair closer to the TV, and he's like really watching of this footage, recorded footage of what just happened, of what was caught on camera. And so of course the first time watching this, I was like, okay, what's going on? So it looked like it was, of course it had mentioned earlier that this happened at a birthday party, at a kid's birthday party. And oh, where was it at? Oh, I forgot where it happened, but it happened somewhere at a kid's birthday party. Because what you see is that you see a table where there's cake outside on the table, and there's balloons, and everyone's wearing birthday hats. And then you hear the young boy, I think either, yeah, you hear a young boy saying, it's behind. And all of a sudden you see something peeking through just a little bit, and it walks. But when it walks, it has its head turned the way, like it's walking, but it has its head turned, like this way. And oh my gosh, I remember the first time that happened, I literally jumped back. And I remember I was so scared that I was like, oh my gosh, and I was just like freaked out. So yeah, I backed away, and I remember backing away from the TV, and I'm like, I'm just like, and I remember I had chills, and seeing how scared Walking Phoenix character was, I'm like, oh man, I don't blame you for being that scared, because ugh, I'm completely scared myself. And so he gets a little and closer, and when they show that part again, this time they paused it, and when they paused it, it's like, oh, and yeah, I just remember just still feeling uneasy, and I'm like, and I think at that point I thought, I am not gonna sleep well tonight. But yeah, never watch it before bed. Although for those who may actually handle watching it at night, then you are brave, because I've watched it at night before, and to me, I find it more uneasy and unsettling, because it's just like, oof, no way. But yeah, I can only watch it during the day, but like I said, it's not something I would watch often because it's, ooh, you know. And so yeah, so with Mel Gibson going to the kitchen and seeing that it's trapped in the pantry, and then later he gets a knife and you see the like fingers coming out, and then he gets a knife and cuts some of its fingers off. So that part was also kind of intense too. Now even the ending is intense because just when they think it's over and that they left, or they probably died off and some of them left, so when they think everything's okay and he brings out the TV, it's standing right there and it's holding Morgan. And so when it's just standing there and they see it in the reflection of the TV, it's, oh man, it is scary because I remember seeing that the first time. I remember I actually just froze. Like I remember I was just like like, and I just stood very still. And you know how when they turned around and saw how all of them just stood there. Now they stood there because they were frozen in fear, and that's how I felt too. Like just seeing that and how it's like kind of like moving around while holding Morgan, but it's like even that part, I just remember feeling like it can't move because I was that scared. And what's really scary is the fact that you see its face on the reflection of the TV and how it's doing something, but you see it in the reflection of the TV. But that part, I'm just like, ugh, you know, oh my, yeah, it still makes me feel like very, very unsettled. Like I just get chills. Spiders do that too. They give me chills. Like they make me scared. Pretty much like chills, frozen in fear, or screaming, or whatever. But that's a whole different topic. But anyway, yes, that's how I felt with this. But I think you say first time watching it, you know, I mean, I did like watching it. I thought it was good, but there were just some parts that really like scared me. Like that, I would say there were certain parts that made me jump because of the alien, and then of course there are some parts that made me feel sad because of the story, and some parts I felt like okay, like I felt tense because I'm like, okay, what's going on? And I would say one part that actually really made me jump is when they boarded everything up and then they're all together, and at some point you hear the footsteps and all of a sudden it's very quiet, and then all of a sudden they're all standing together, and because they're near the stairs, and then all of a sudden you hear this big boom because it knocks really hard on the door, the front door. So when you hear that big boom at the door, that literally makes me jump every time. And I think that the first time when I did watch that, I think not only I jumped back, but I think my heart jumped as well. The first time, like, oh my gosh. And then there was another like bang at the door, but it came from behind them, and that made me jump too. Like, oh, like, oh my gosh, they're coming through. Like, they're gonna try to break into the house. So all of that, I was just remember feeling my heart pounding fast. Okay, I'm not sure you can hear that, but there's a car or some motorcycle, the engine being loud, but still kind of noisy. But yeah, so during that part, I remember feeling really tense and just my heart beating fast. And I think the part I think also made me feel even more scared is when they're going to the basement, but then Morgan, he's still looking towards the front door, and then you see the hand, like the fingers doing that right underneath the front door. So seeing that, I remember I just had this look on my face. I was like almost like had a scared, shocked look, and I felt chills everywhere, like, oh my gosh, like, jeez. And so yeah, so during this whole thing, even up and towards the ending, like, I was scared. But of course it did have a good ending, so with that, I was like, okay, good. And I'm glad how they killed it. How he swung the bat really hard and it got knocked over, and the glasses of water fell on top of it and it died from that. So yeah, I actually liked how it ended that way, and how even after that, I think what it seemed like a year went by, and how things went back to normal, and how now he has his faith back again, and he's now a pastor. He went back to his job, being a pastor, and then you hear then you hear the kids laughing downstairs, and it sounds like everyone is just doing good now, and they're having a great time. So I actually liked how it ended. But yeah, so anyway, I'm just saying is that the first time I watched it, there are some parts where I felt sad, some parts I felt really tense and felt very uneasy, and I think mostly towards the end I felt even more uneasy, and I felt more unsettled and scared. But then the way it ended, I just felt like, I was like, oh, good, it had a good ending. So yeah, I remember after it was over, I was like, man, I've never seen a alien movie like that before. But the way it took, I think the direction it took, it was different. It was different from any other alien movie I've seen, different from Men in Black and Independence Day. So yeah, and even especially different from the Alien franchise, because I did not watch those ones until in my mid-teens. So yeah, and if you guys want to hear about that, I will talk about that. So anyway, I remember after watching that, I thought, okay, this is good, this is a good movie, and of course I still like it, it's still a good movie, but it's not something I would watch often. I mean, I would need to have a friend with me to watch it, because to me it's just very uneasy to watch it alone. So yeah, so anyway, yeah, and I thought everyone did a good job with the movie, with how it turned out and everything. So yeah. And one thing before I go, and that is I am hoping and planning to do more of my videos during the day, when the sun is up and everything, so that way the quality of the videos will look really nice, so yeah. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, and yes, now I'm kind of changing the subject, but yes, at 13 I was like, okay, they did a good job with this movie, because it really, like, scared me, and really I felt like it just really made me feel really unsettled, and because of that, I was like, okay, they did a good job, but I am not gonna watch this often. And yeah, I remember, I think that night I did not slept well. I remember I had a hard time sleeping because of that. So yeah, and let me know what you guys think of science and whether you like it or not. Yeah, that was the first time watching it. Um, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this, and for more movie content, please subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment down below on what you think of science, and let me know what you think of this. So yeah. So that's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.